I had this problem where the sink was dripping through these holes, and it was because my gasket on my sink was a little damaged. I don't know if you can see that, but there's just a little bit of gap in the plastic there. So I looked online and I couldn't find another gasket that was just like this. American Standard doesn't make these gaskets or sell these anymore. So instead, I ordered a silicone sheet from Amazon and I cut my own gasket. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So I ended up getting this off of Amazon, and this is about 1/16 of an inch thick of smooth silicone. And the idea, so I traced this out using this gasket as a template. The idea is to put this little gasket, custom-made gasket, in between this plastic piece and the bottom of the vanity, the surface of the vanity. So the water, even though this piece of plastic is a little dented, the water will still be stopped by this gasket and it won't drip to the bottom of the vanity. So let's take a look at how that worked out.
So first, it's important to make sure that the faucet is centered on the vanity while you're installing it, and then you want to clean off the vanity any residue or moisture or dirt that might have gotten under the faucet since you last took it out, which was probably, for me, about 20 years ago. The previous owner probably hadn't done anything to it since they installed it in the 1990s or 1980s. So this is the first time it's coming out in a while, and I wanted to make sure that the vanity was completely clean before installing the new gasket and the old gasket and the old faucet back on.
There are two plastic spacers, and I held it up really quick there, but there are two plastic screws that hold the faucet itself, the handles and the faucet head, to the vanity. So those go on first, and I'm screwing those in by hand, trying to get it on those threads. Those are 7/8 threads, so they're pretty big washers. These are just plastic washers that use your hand to tighten it down. There's no tool. You just gotta kind of make sure that everything fits and tighten it down as much as you can by hand. You can't use a wrench on these. You don't want to tighten these too much, otherwise you can break these little plastic nuts. And here I'm adjusting the silicone to make sure that it sits correctly. So remember, we put on that silicone gasket that sits under the faucet, and if you tighten it the wrong way or if the faucet moves, then the silicone can also move. So you want to make sure that everything, the silicone gasket, fits exactly under the faucet and you don't have any overlap or overhang. So once those two plastic nuts are in, now it's time to use the 7/8 flare nut wrench. So I'm using a Craftsman wrench. They have a lifetime warranty. Hopefully they still honor it. But these are wrenches. You can look up. It's a picture. Basically, it looks like it fits around the pipe, and it fits directly around the nut. So you can actually insert the wrench almost into the supply line, and it fits directly around the nut, and you can kind of do that. So this was a really tight fit under the vanity, and I was trying to tighten down those two nuts, one for the hot water, one for the cold water, and those are the supply lines that go to the house. So they have these 7/8 nuts that fit around the faucet right where and it was really tight fit. I had a hard time getting it in that close of a space, but it took a little bit. Finally got it tight enough where it doesn't leak, and I was able to turn on the water, test it, make sure everything works. Here we go, testing the handles, and everything looks like it works. No leaks. Checking underneath again to make sure there are no leaks under the sink. Putting water. You saw me there putting water onto the silicone gasket to make sure there are no leaks. Again, testing the finished product. Finally, we want to reinstall the handle, that drain pipe. So you see me kind of pushing that up from underneath. This is pretty much standard for all American Standard sinks, where that pull lever You can adjust it. It's just a cam mechanism that goes under the sink. And that's it. So here you can see the finished product, and everything looks just like it looked before. There's the silicone gasket that you can't even tell that it's there. Here's a close-up on the gasket. It's just a little higher than it used to be. It looks really clean. I'm pretty happy with how this turned out.